Giant race. If there were a contest for who's the biggest in One Piece, the giants would definitely take the gold medal. While normal people are around 1 to 2 meters tall, these guys start at 12 meters. And the tallest ones? Well, just look at Oars or Little Oars Jr. Even Whitebeard looks like a child next to them. But it's not just their insane height, their strength is on a whole other level. A single sword swing from a giant can slice a warship in half, and a casual punch is enough to flatten an entire building. In this world, if you don't have strong Haki or a powerful devil fruit, it's best not to even think about challenging a giant. Speaking of giants, we can't ignore Elbaf, the homeland of these massive warriors. It's not just the place with the highest concentration of giants, but also the birthplace of the strongest ones. Here, honor and battle are a way of life. The people of Elbaf believe that dying on the battlefield is the greatest glory, just like Vikings in anime form. They live by the warrior's code, respecting the strong and never backing down from a challenge. Because of this, most giants are straightforward, brave, and sometimes a little too naive, which has led to them being tricked and exploited. But don't think all giants are the same. There are some terrifying, upgraded versions of this race. Ancient giants. If regular giants are huge, these guys are on a whole different level. Ancient giants are not only much bigger, but they also have fearsome traits, like demon horns, sharp fangs, and unusual skin. If a normal giant can level a building, an ancient giant can wipe out an entire city. The two most famous examples are Oars and his descendant, Little Oars Jr., monstrous warriors with enough power to shake the battlefield with just a few attacks. Yeti Cool Brothers. At first glance, they look like two snow monsters, but they're actually part of a mysterious giant subrace. They're twice as tall as a regular giant, covered in thick white fur like polar bears, and, most surprisingly, they move insanely fast, like ninjas. No one expects creatures this big to be that quick. These two caused chaos in Punk Hazard, and nearly added Luffy to the list of characters who got taken down in this arc. Despite their insane strength and nearly indestructible bodies, giants have one fatal weakness: they're way too trusting. Their simple, straightforward nature and strong sense of honor make them easy to manipulate. Time and time again, they've been tricked into wars that had nothing to do with them, or even captured and experimented on for the world government's crazy plans. If you're not yet a member of the animeZONE pirate crew, then subscribe right now to join us and never miss out on any new adventures in this magical anime world. And don't forget to share this video on Facebook, Twitter, or any social media platform so we can bring even more members into our crew. Just a little sharing can make a huge difference, just like how Luffy gathered so many crewmates across the seas. Thank you for supporting and sailing alongside animeZONE. Let's set our course for 10,000 subs together. Next, human race. In the world of One Piece, if there's one race considered the default, it's humans. They don't have fish-like abilities to swim like super athletes. They don't have the insane strength to punch buildings away like giants. And they definitely don't have fancy fur that shoots electricity like the minks. But don't underestimate them, because they are actually the most dangerous race of all. Humans in this world come in all shapes and sizes, from barely 1.5 meters tall to nearly 10 meters. Some are built like walking mountains, like Garp, while others are as skinny as a twig, like Brook. Wait, does Brook even have flesh to be skinny? Some have horns, some have trees growing on their heads, and some even look like animals, but are still classified as human. Well, that's just One Piece logic for you. Despite their differences in appearance, humans all share one thing in common: they are masters of playing the game. The world government, the most powerful force on the planet, completely run by humans. The deadliest weapons of mass destruction and groundbreaking scientific experiments, all created by humans. They might be one of the physically weakest races, but they hold the most power. But don't think humans are all the same. Among them are countless subgroups with unique lifestyles and personalities just as wild as any other race. Take the Kumati tribe in East Blue, for example, a group of people who love eating meat. And yes, that includes human meat. They don't just throw BBQ parties, they can turn their own guests into the main course. If you're looking for a true girl power warrior tribe, head to Amazon Lily, home of the Kuja. This island is inhabited entirely by women, and every single one of them can use Haki as naturally as breathing. They also have a special bond with snakes. What makes them even more unique is that Amazon Lily only has daughters. Men, to them, are nothing more than a species to observe. And if you think round, chubby people are harmless, wait until you meet the Torino people. This tiny tribe looks like they walk straight out of the Stone Age, but they're actually masters of medicine. They can create miracle drugs and even build advanced weapons like missile launchers. Seriously, who would expect a bunch of little round guys living in the jungle to be capable of that? But like I said, humans are the most unpredictable race of all. And then we have the so-called lords of humanity, the world nobles, also known as the celestial dragons. These are the descendants of those who founded the world government, living in Mary Joasa, completely isolated from the lower-class people. They even wear oxygen masks just so they don't have to breathe the same air as commoners. The level of separation is so absurd that if someone said they were allergic to poor people, no one would be surprised. While other races struggle to become stronger to survive, these people are powerful simply because they have authority, a fact that makes them some of the most hated figures in One Piece. But there are exceptions, like Don Quixote, Homing, and Mijosgard, the rare few who had the courage to abandon their privileges to live as normal humans. Even though humans don't have the special abilities of other races, they are still the most dangerous force in history. They might be the weakest compared to giants, the slowest swimmers compared to fishmen, but they are the ones who always find a way to win, at any cost. They invent weapons, they develop power, they dominate war and politics, and most importantly, they have the one thing that truly matters: ambition to change the world. If anyone dares to call humans the weakest race, just look at the strongest figures in the world. Luffy, Mihawk, Garp, Dragon, all of them are human. And they are the ones holding the fate of the world in their hands. The Mink tribe. The Minks are a race of half-human, half-animal beings who live on the back of a gigantic elephant, Zunisha, which stands an unbelievable 35 kilometers tall. That's right, an entire civilization exists on the back of an elephant that just keeps walking endlessly, and no one even knows where it's going. Minks are a unique blend of animals and humans, but their designs are quite interesting. Male minks look almost exactly like animals walking on two legs, while female minks have a more human-like appearance, with just a few animal traits like fur, ears, or tails. One side gives off ferocious beast warrior vibes, while the other looks like bunny-eared waifus, which explains why the fandom is obsessed with them. But don't let the cute appearance of some minks fool you. This race isn't just about running fast and meowing. They have serious combat abilities. First, they are one of the 3 rare races in One Piece that can naturally control an elemental power. I'll talk about the other 2 later. For the minks, their unique ability is Electro, which allows them to generate electricity through their bodies and attack enemies with electrified punches and claw strikes. They're basically a living version of Pikachu, but in a much more beastly form. Second, if you think Electro is impressive, wait until you see Sulong mode, the mink's werewolf transformation, when they look at a full moon. In this state, their fur turns pure white, their eyes glow intensely, and both their speed and strength get an absolutely insane boost. A mink in Sulong form can tear through multiple enemies in seconds, and even wipe out entire armies with ease. However, not everyone can handle this power. If they can't control it, they risk losing themselves completely and dying from exhaustion. It's a gift from nature, but also a deadly double-edged sword. Despite their incredible strength, the minks, like many other non-human races, have a painful past. They were once forced into exile, living in hiding on Zunisha's back, and the reason for this might have something to do with the next race we're about to discuss. One thing is for sure, Their history is filled with oppression, war, and relentless persecution. But through it all, they have remained strong and fiercely loyal to those they consider friends. The long human tribes. The world of One Piece also has races that are all about being long. Whether it's ridiculously long legs, bizarrely stretched out arms, or even necks so extended they could rival a giraffe's. And yes, we're talking about the long leg tribe, the long arm tribe, and the snake neck tribe. Three groups of people with designs so strange they look like they've stepped right out of Japanese folklore. The long leg tribe is exactly what their name suggests. People with absurdly long legs. A perfect example is Smoothie, one of Big Mom's sweet commanders, who not only has a towering height, but also an impossibly long pair of legs. Then there's the snake neck tribe, whose members have necks so long they resemble actual snakes. Just imagine how much effort it must take for them to nod their heads. It's probably a full-body workout. They haven't played a major role in the story yet, but if there were ever a competition for who can turn their head the farthest, they'd win without a doubt. But the most bizarre of all has to be the long arm tribe, a race of people with an extra elbow joint. That's right, they have 2 elbows on each arm, meaning they can bend their arms in ways that should be physically impossible. What's the advantage of that? Well, in martial arts, it definitely allows them to throw out some insanely unpredictable attacks. The most famous member of the long arm tribe is none other than Scratchman Apu, a guy whose long arms aren't just for fighting, but also for playing music with his own body. That's right, he can slap his arms, head, and chest to produce sounds, basically turning himself into a one-man DJ booth with a bizarre and unique music style. At first glance, these 3 tribes might seem completely unrelated, but the long arm and long leg tribes have actually been at war with each other since the Void Century. That means their conflict has lasted even longer than the world government itself has existed. The real question is, why? We still don't know, but this is definitely one of One Piece's many historical mysteries that Oda has yet to reveal. And if you thought that was the end, think again. There's another race, the long head people. That's right, these are humans with unusually long heads. And while they don't have an official name, there are actually quite a few characters who belong to this group. Examples include Baskerville, the 3-headed judge from Enies Lobby, and Vice Admiral Suru of the Marines. If there's one takeaway from all these tribes, it's this. In the world of One Piece, nothing is ever too long. Sky people. Have you ever looked up at the sky and wondered, is there anyone living up there? Well, in the world of One Piece, the answer is yes, and they even have wings. But don't start imagining graceful angels soaring through the sky, because in reality, the sky people have wings, but they can't fly. This group is divided into 3 main tribes, the Skypians, the Shandorans, and the Burkons. Each has a different wing shape, but they all share a mysterious common origin. It might seem like they've always lived in the sky, but the truth is, they once lived on the moon. This was revealed in Enel's cover story, where he traveled to the moon and discovered the ruins of an ancient winged civilization. As it turns out, the Sky People originally lived there, but due to a lack of resources, they were forced to leave their homeland and migrate to Earth. The Skypians and Burkans settled on floating sky islands, while the Shandorans landed in the ocean and continued their lives on Jaya. In the past, the Shandorans were allies of the ancient kingdom and were even entrusted with protecting a poneglyph. However, if you were hoping for a race of winged warriors gracefully flying through the skies like fishmen swim underwater, sorry to disappoint, you won't find that here. Their wings are purely decorative. That's right, none of them can actually fly, unless they use special tools like dials. But at least they have something unique to offer, sky-exclusive resources, such as the mystical dials and even sea stone, a material that most surface dwellers can't easily obtain. All in all, while the Sky People may not be the strongest or most powerful race, they hold an incredibly important piece of history. Three-Eyed Tribe. If you think having a third eye on your forehead is just for cosplaying Hindu or Taoist gods, well, you're right. But in One Piece, it's much more than that. The three-eyed tribe is an extremely rare race, so rare that we've only seen one known member so far, Charlotte Pudding, the daughter of Big Mom. Here's an interesting fact. Pudding is only half three-eyed, which means that somewhere out there, at least one full-blooded member of this tribe still exists, possibly her father or someone we haven't seen yet. But whoever they are, one thing is clear. This tribe is no joke, because they possess one of the most overpowered abilities in One Piece, the voice of all things. If you don't remember, this is the ability to hear and understand all languages, even those that aren't human. Luffy has shown this skill when communicating with Sea Kings, and Roger used it to read poneglyphs without needing to learn the language. And the craziest part? When fully awakened, the three-eyed tribe can use this power to its fullest potential, giving them the ability to translate all poneglyphs. Now, imagine if Pudding awakens her power. She could read the road poneglyphs and lead anyone straight to the One Piece. That would make her tribe the ultimate key to unlocking the world's greatest mystery. So the real question is, will Oda make Pudding, or another member of her tribe, play a major role in the future? The answer is almost certainly yes. With a power that could shift the entire balance of the world, there's no way this ability will just be ignored. Dwarves. Now, let's talk about one of the most adorable races in One Piece, the Dwarves. But don't let their tiny size fool you, because these little guys are no joke. If you ever thought small means weak, the Dwarves will literally punch that idea out of your head. Standing no taller than a human hand, they can bring down entire buildings with a single punch. On top of that, their speed is so insane that even professional speedrunners would struggle to keep up. They are masters of stealth, sneaking around unnoticed, and their farming skills are almost like magic. Everything they touch grows lush and full of life. But life isn't all sunshine and rainbows for them. Like many other races in One Piece, the Dwarves have a dark history. The ones we meet in Dressrosa, known as the Tontata tribe, were enslaved by humans for hundreds of years. They were tricked, exploited, and due to their incredibly naive and trusting nature, they were manipulated over and over again. Thankfully, they managed to free themselves, but the scars of their past still remain. And here's something interesting. There might be more than just one tribe of dwarves. In Big Mom's library, we saw a tiny creature trapped inside a book called Kinokobito. We don't know much about them yet, but their small size and name, Kinoko, means mushroom and Bito means person. Hint that there might be another race of dwarves living somewhere in the world. Lunarians. The Lunarians once lived on the Red Line, the very place that is now home to the celestial dragons. This means they were once considered gods, and it's very possible that the world government wiped them out to take control of the land. Now, only one known Lunarian remains, King, Kato's right-hand man. In terms of appearance, Lunarians have striking white hair, massive black feathered wings, and distinct dark skin. But their most unique feature is the ever-burning flame on their back. As long as this flame is lit, they are almost invincible. Even Zoro's attacks barely made a scratch. However, when they put out the fire, their defense drops significantly. But in exchange, they become much faster. Beyond their insane durability, Lunarians also have the ability to generate and control fire at will. King has unleashed massive fire blasts, created fire dragons, and devastated entire battlefields using nothing but his natural power. The world government understood just how powerful the Lunarians were, which is why they studied King's DNA to create the Seraphim, upgraded Pacifista with Lunarian abilities. But the biggest mystery remains. Why were the Lunarians wiped out? If the world government really erased them from history, then they must be deeply connected to the Void Century. And if that's the case, King might not be the last Lunarian after all. Someone else could emerge and finally reveal the lost secrets of this legendary race. Buccaneer. If you thought the Giants were already insanely strong, then get ready to be blown away by the Buccaneers. a rare race with strength on par with giants, but way more agility. Buccaneers aren't like the usual half-giants we've seen before. They aren't the result of a human and a giant having kids, but rather a hybrid race that shares ancient ancestry with the giants. In other words, they carry giant blood from generations past, rather than being the product of some international marriage experiment like the one Big Mom attempted. But what truly makes them special isn't just their overwhelming strength, it's their connection to Nika. We now know that the Hito no Mi, model Nika, is the devil fruit that Luffy possesses. But Nika isn't just a legend. He might have actually been a real figure in One Piece history. And the Buccaneers are one of the few races that knew about Nika, even seeing him as their savior. This suggests they could have had a deep connection to Joy Boy or the Ancient Kingdom, and because of this secret, the world government nearly wiped them out. But here's the thing. If the Buccaneers were connected to Joy Boy, then there's a real chance that some of them are still out there, hidden from the world. The truth about Nika, Joy Boy, and the Void Century might finally come to light through them. Maybe someone in Luffy's crew or a yet-to-be-introduced character carries Buccaneer blood. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.